Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Haven't recorded in a hot minute. My name is Murunga Mongo. I am a clinical neuropsychologist in training at UCT. I'm doing my first year in masters in clinical neuropsychology. I'm actually studying for my neuroanatomy exam, and yeah, my exam is in how many days? What's the date today? The 23rd. So my exam is in like 10 days. The journey is still quite interesting. The journey is still, I still feel like this is what I would like to do. My bed is filled with notes. I'll just put a video here. This is how I display my notes, because then, like, as I study, I'm able to connect certain I'm able to connect certain topics with one another, and that's extremely important when you're studying. Try to not study things in isolation, because those are the things that the lecturers don't test. If you're studying a particular thing, if it doesn't connect with other things in your course, if it doesn't build up, then I kid you not, like, there's almost no point to studying it. You need to always focus on the material that applies to other areas, and they build on a certain concept or whatnot. But like focusing on these topics or these parts of your studies that it's just this one thing that's just standing alone. It means nothing. It doesn't contribute anything. It doesn't affect something else. This rule applies to everything. I mean, I have an accounting degree, and I can tell you this without a shadow of a doubt, that even then, things build up, things link up. And if you're not focusing on how things link up, it's a waste of time. Anyway, for those that are interested in studying neuropsychology one day, all the best, firstly, especially those that are doing their honors. I've been getting a lot of questions from people doing their honors, and just people saying they are on the journey. Some people are actually doing undergrad, so all the best. It is June, so, well, it's May now, but it's going to be June soon, and I know many of us are writing exams. So I really, really hope that all goes well with you guys and your exams. I wanted to talk about the few topics that we did. Well, mention a few topics that we did. All right. I think if you are interested in the human brain, you probably already know the four lobes, of the cerebral cortex. You probably already know the cerebellum. You probably know the brainstem. You also probably know the subcortical structures of the brain, your basal ganglia, your limbic system. You probably already know those things. But man, so many things go. It goes so much deeper than that. Like, just even the subcortical structures, they were broken down for us this semester. They were broken down into a topic that we covered so, for instance, when you're studying the human brain on a larger scale, you can go through it in one lecture. But with us, one lecture just covered the limbic system. One lecture covered the basal ganglia. One lecture covered the hypothalamus on its own, just because of how much information there is to unpack in terms of that. And even with that, like, there isn't enough time to go into that much structure. Also, you must remember that neuropsychology is interested in the behavior of certain of the central nervous system, right? So we're not really interested in hard neurology. So yes, there are certain parts of neurology, very great parts of neurology that we need to know, but we don't need to know, like, for instance, with the cranial nerves. Of course, as a neuropsychologist, you need to know the different cranial nerves. You need to know the conditions that could come out of damage in the brainstem, but damage in certain cranial nerves. You need to know what conditions can come out of blood supply to the brainstem and right? But there's really no need, well, I hope, but there's really no need to know about the cranial nerves nuclei. So yeah, but I mean, I think someone studying neurology, or someone studying maybe neurosurgery, or like someone studying the heart neurology, and going deep into that point would have to like properly go deeper. So I think that's why we were able to cover all these topics in like 2 hours. So we were able to cover like the cerebellum in 2 hours, because as a neuropsychologist, I don't really to know, like for instance, I just don't know what you'd need to study to be able to know every single cell key and every single gyre, right? But like yeah, we don't need, even though our lecture covered a whole lot of them. The image that he had presented on the board showed us all of the sulcus and all of this the gyrus, but excuse me, we don't need to know all of that. Like, we genuinely don't need to know all of that. There's important ones that we need to know as neuropsychologists, and there's ones that is just, it's there because other people need it. Neurologists need it. I don't know what you'd need to be studying to know, but I'd like to think neurologists. I don't know. That's not my monkey, not my circus. But yeah, the journey is still continuing. The journey is still quite interesting. I'm still quite happy to be here. I am just listening to some recordings and just continuing to study. Yeah, I can't wait to start to get to a point where I can confidently speak about some of the things that we're learning. I mean, I'm currently not at that point yet. I may know a lot more than what I knew when I started, but you won't find me just randomly maybe saying, I don't know, diencephalon, or the diencephalon nuclei. You won't find me like randomly speaking like that. I will rather just say the hypothalamus, and I will say thalamus and hypothalamus, but even though we know that the diencephalon, the hypothalamus and the thalamus are a part of the diencephalon, but I'm just not I'm not at that point yet. I'm not comfortable like that yet. But yeah, I'm still happy to be here. Still greatly happy to be here. Also, I am just seeing how it's funny, because there's a lady on TikTok, not on TikTok, on YouTube, that I've been listening to. She focuses on neuro rehab, and she was presenting a case, the one that I watched earlier today. She was presenting a case of someone that had a thalamic stroke. And it's so funny how you don't recognize the importance of, you don't recognize how everything is properly structured in your brain, and just how everything is flowing together, right? Until you start hearing of someone who had a stroke, and you start hearing that their brain doesn't know that, their brain can't encode that now it's time to move and now it's time to stop moving. So because that part of their brain is damaged, now it's just, and it's like, oh my gosh, like even one of the patients that she was talking about that had a thalamic stroke, he's like, he walk fine, and then his left leg or right leg, I just remember what leg it was, will just randomly stop working, because the part that tells his thalamus, he had a stroke in his thalamus, so that interrupts his it interrupts his movement. So the signals that are supposed to just tell his leg to keep walking, they are interrupted. So it's like, okay, the body his leg doesn't know that it needs to keep walking, so it randomly just stops. And can you imagine if you're trying to walk and your one leg just randomly stops? I just found myself listening to that case, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I started appreciating the fact that when I do this, my brain understands that, like, this is what I want to do. It's processing the sensory information in the way it needs to process the sensory information, and my direct pathway of my thalamus is actually working. And when I decide to stop, that pathway also works perfectly fine, and I can stop, and it's fine. Like, you don't, yeah. Anyway, I still like it here. That's the whole point of this video. And all the best to all the psychology students that are writing exams soon, first year to honors. You know, all the best to, yeah, actually all the best to all the students that are writing. Bye.